Hello and welcome to this tutorial on materials, appearances, and backgrounds. So we're going to make everything look more realistic. So we'll look at both the hammer and the screwdriver, and we'll place the screwdriver maybe on the kitchen counter. But first, let's add some materials. So materials will be added at the part level, and then they'll show up in the assembly. So over here, there's this material not specified. So this is also what is specified in your custom properties. So you can get to the same spot from these custom properties, but we will just work from over here. So if you right click on material, and then we want to edit material. So this brings up a whole nother window, a pretty big menu. So there's SolidWorks DIN materials. DIN is a standard material. This is a bunch of different SolidWorks materials that SolidWorks has added. And there's some other ones that you can make custom. So a material is used to bring it into a drawing, but B, also when you get into simulation, it will bring in all of the properties of that part. So if we look at steel, so we'll make this let's make it a copper alloy. Let's make it a brass head. So when I choose brass, it brings in all of the mechanical and physical properties of brass, along with some appearance, some hatching, and these are all kind of custom things for each material. And as you can see, there's quite a wide range of materials. So for this one, we'll make this a brass hammerhead, and so that gives us basically densities and tensile strengths and all of that now for our material. And it also brings in an appearance as well. So that looks good. So now my material is brass. So if we look at our custom properties, my material is now brass, and it still has that natural finish. So go ahead and save that. We'll go back to the assembly. So as you can see, that assembly that has already updated as well. So we'll open up the part. So to open up a part from an assembly, you right click on that part and then just go open, and that will open whichever part you've clicked on. So for this one, let's right click and edit the material. So we won't make it a steel, we'll make it, let's make it a wood. So let's make it a nice, maybe a mahogany, and we'll apply that. So you'll notice that it turns brown if we go into photo view 360. There will be some grain, but we can also add a different style of appearance. So the colorful ball here goes into our appearances, our scenes, and our decals. That same ball is basically over here. So basically what the rendering will look like if we go into photo view, it will actually appear like this ball. So it'll actually have grain in there and look really professional. So we'll save that one. We won't change anything about the appearance for this one, and we'll close that. So now we have our hammer in basically empty space. So if we go up to this SolidWorks add-ins, we can actually install the Photo View 360 by clicking on, and that added this tab right away. So what this allows, and anytime you're rendering, please be careful. It becomes very graphics heavy and will slow down your computer quite significantly. So basically, in this one, you can actually create a a realistic rendering. So right now, what it's doing is it's actually pulling up. So there, within this rendering, um, there's a lot that you can do. You can add different lights, you can add different cameras, but basically, what this is showing is the rendering. And if we wait a significant amount of time and turn on this full preview, so I will click this, and so this rendering on my computer took about 34 seconds to get the everything nicely rendered. And this doesn't actually have anything for a background right now. It just has the stock. But you can see it does have a kind of a nice reflection and everything. So this is a real nice way to create. You can save this image and create a realistic rendering quite quickly. But again, this is computer heavy. So especially on the graphics card. So if you're already slow, I don't recommend doing too much rendering. So that's all within. So I click the preview window. You can integrate it within this window, but again, things slow down quite quickly. So that's some materials and rendering. So this decal is the other nice thing you can do to add some appearance or something. It's a way to add an image basically to any surface or feature or whatnot. So open that decal library and you'll see here you can see the stock ones from SolidWorks. There's some basic logos as well. We will just add a what should we registered trademark. So click and hold with the left mouse button and drag it onto the surface that you want. So we'll make it nice and big on this surface. And that basically puts this image. So you can put any image you want, but we'll just look at using the stock ones from SolidWorks. So you can rotate them with the dial, the orange dial there, and then you can you shrink it down and you can move it as well. So you can put decals on there, you know, whether it's your company logo or you know, a barcode, you know, anything that you may want to add to your actual part. You can add an image or something that's not purely an appearance onto your part. So now we want to save that. So if we look at that other side, we have that nice registered trademark mark. So that's the hammer. So now let's quickly do the screwdriver, and we'll put this on a kitchen counter. That's a stock. So we'll change our material here to just choose it to some annealed stainless steel. Probably sounds pretty good. So, and again, if you pay attention, the actual screwdriver will change the color as well, so that its appearance changes as well. So I'm happy with that, just changing the material for this one. So it's just saying it's changing. So these both used to be the same shade of gray, but now with this material you can tell it's a little bit different. We'll open up this part. I think typically handles, we'll call this a plastic handle. We'll make this a plastic handle. So we can go over into the plastics. I actually think it's usually CA. And so you can change it from the defaults, the appearance, but we'll leave that and we'll go over and change the appearance. And again, anytime we're adding a material, we're getting all of the information, the density, the shear modulus, all of those properties of the material. So with plastics, you have a lot more chance of choosing colors and whatnot. So under appearance, we can find so if you don't want to add your material to your part, you can add just an appearance to make it look like something. Maybe it's just a part that you've put in there for an assembly to make a scene or something. Under plastic, there's lots of different kinds of finishes. So you can do a high gloss, a medium gloss, a low gloss. And again, it won't come into play right away. Let's choose a high gloss, and we'll choose a nice green. So we'll drag and drop that over to here. And now we get this little menu. So this is choosing between the face, basically the feature that we were in, the body, or the entire part. So I'm going to choose, I want the entire part to be that green. So that's looking pretty slick. So you can do a rendering both in a part and an assembly, it doesn't matter. So let's preview and just have a look quickly at what the rendering of this looks like. So this took 18 seconds to render. So you'll see that if we look at the actual part, we have the edges displayed, but in reality, you wouldn't actually see those. So this is a high gloss plastic rendering, and that looks quite good. So if I were to rotate it in here, it does update, but again, to get it fully rendered, it does take a bit of time. So that looks really good, and I actually want to put a decal on this as well. So again, you can get into those decals from over here, and we'll put a tiny barcode just on that little surface so that you're able to buy it. So again, you can shrink it, you can rotate it. That looks pretty good. So now there'll be a barcode on that end of the handle. So yes, I want to save it. So now we have our plastic and our steel shaft. We have a glossy finish on our plastic with a decal on there. So the last thing we want to do is we want to go in here and choose a scene. So within SolidWorks, there's basic scenes, studio scenes, and presentations. The presentations is usually the funniest, but so you can just have, you can just change it to different colors. So the 3-point kind of means that there's a corner in there as well. So this is kind of like if you were doing a studio shoot. Same with these where you're different kind of floors. But there are actual backgrounds that you can add to, and these aren't just images, these are 360 degree. So if you have a little Vespa scooter that you want to put into a Roman courtyard here, you can do that. There's a factory that you can put your toolkit in. So I'm just going to use a kitchen. So we have a full kitchen. So zooming works the same, but sometimes you want to actually put it down on the counter. Maybe we'll zoom out a little. So in order to move the part, just move it within the scene. A control and the middle mouse button, you can just move it. Then you can zoom and you can move it, and you can kind of place it nicely on that bench. And again, the F command will get you your fit of your part if you don't like what you're seeing. So sometimes it's pretty tricky to actually get it to play around, but you can just put it on the counter. And then when you go into your preview window and do an actual rendering of your part with a background. So you can play around with it, get the view that you want, and then have that full rendering of your part. You know, a lot of marketing nowadays, they are starting to use photorealistic renderings from CAD packages as opposed to trying to set up your part in a scene. You can get things looking very, very professional. So this one took 28 seconds to get the entire rendering done. And again, if you click here and save, you'll be able to get an image file of that part. So you can turn on the scenes here as well, and the same with the appearance, but typically it's going to pull up these two windows. So that's how you add material and appearance, put on a decal, and change your background. So this is a way to take, your part, if you have a customer, and create and put that thing that you're creating into, a real life environment to make it, that much more believable about how effective it will be. So materials, appearances, decals, and backgrounds. Thank you.